Hey, welcome to Reestablishment. And as always, I'm your host, Bodie D'Andrea. Welcome to this episode of the podcast. So we're going to hit a couple different topics today. First question is, you're a 19-year-old single woman, you're pregnant, and you're faced with a choice. You're actually faced with several choices, and what do you do? Whatever choice you make, then what do you do? Once you learn to live with that choice, what do you do? In other words, whatever choice you make has other ramifications and repercussions that will go a long way. So today we have somebody that is has a story that is not only about this choice, but about the family. And I know for a fact that there are many of you today that have the same situation. And because of technology, you are learning who your real family is. Not everybody knows. So I want to introduce you to Jennifer. And Jennifer, welcome today. So glad to have you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
And so I tried to set it up. I fumbled because it's a story that I can't relate to
Okay.
in my personal life. But your mother was a 19-year-old woman who found herself pregnant and had to make a decision. What do I do? And thank God she chose adoption.
Absolutely.
Take it from there.
So at 19, she had a choice to make, and her choice was adoption. And so she wanted the best for me. She knew that her situation, her living, her conditions weren't what was best for me. And so she chose adoption. And so the next part and piece of that was a family. What family would she place me in? And Brody, I can tell you, I was so blessed by the family that I was placed in. Jerry and Misha Flock are my parents. She is my, Patty is my biological mother. And before I start with them, let me just thank her. I thank her for carrying me. Right. That is such a huge sacrifice to know that you're going to hand your child over to someone else. You're not going to have that opportunity to raise your child.
Right.
But you want what's best because you love that child.
Right.
And so just the opportunity to know and to think, just the opportunity and just to know the selflessness of her action. I thank her, and I thank her every day.
That is awesome. So you find yourself in a family,
Yes.
an adopted family,
Yes.
that probably doesn't look like a normal family.
Not at all.
Talk to, as you begin to grow in this family and you look around and there's so many different aspects to it, but yet you fit in so perfectly there. Tell us about that.
So I was adopted into a family of 10. I have 6 brothers and 1 sister, and we all are adopted, actually. They couldn't have any children. Our parents couldn't have any children of their own, but they wanted a family. So what better to do than to provide a safe and loving home?
And what number were you out of the 10?
Number 4.
You were 4 in the pecking
I'm number
order.
4 out of the 8. And the amazing part of our family and what makes us unique is that we're a multiracial family.
So that was part of what I was trying to set up.
Yes.
So how many races were in this group?
So I have 4 Caucasian brothers, a Korean sister, and 2 black brothers. And I myself am black. So it was just, we didn't, even though the different colors and the different nationalities were there, we didn't grow up knowing color. Right. We grew up knowing love. We knew that love comes in so many different shapes and colors and views and perspectives that we just never focused on, oh, well, that's this brother, or he's this shade, or she's this shade. It was, this is my brother.
Right.
And we'd get the eye or we'd get the look like, what do you mean? Your brother's blonde with blue eyes. Yes, he's still my brother. He's still my brother.
And how does this play out when you're in school?
It had its challenges. You know, most of the time, people knew our family. We went to a private school, and so all of us were at that private school. As we got of age, Okay, one's in kindergarten, so as we got of age, we all ended up in this private school. So they knew of our family. Most of the community knew of our family as well. My father is an architectural precaster. He owned his own business.
Okay.
And my mother, a school teacher. So, and she also taught in the school that
She
we
would
attended.
have to be with all the
She's
kids.
a saint.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Now, when you all were adopted, you all took the same surname.
Yes.
And so that did help during school.
And it was so appropriate because our last name was Flock. So here we are, a flock of
Yeah.
children.
How cool is that?
Yes, absolutely.
That is so cool. Did you ever feel that you guys were different than other families? Did that ever, or were you guys so strong of a bond that it didn't matter?
We were so strong of a bond that it didn't matter.
Okay.
You're my brother, you're my sister, and that's all we knew, And then, you know what? If somebody came for one of us, we all joined in. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like we didn't have each other's back. We stood firm. Their concept was, and their value was love. This is your sibling. You
So-
look out for them.
So you really had a stable home.
Yes.
So the choice your biological mother made became a good choice.
Yes. Yes, it did.
Better than she could have given you on her own.
Absolutely.
You were raised well. You blended well. I mean, I know typical brothers and sisters go through their things, but there came a point in time now as an adult that now you, and I think it's normal that is there more of my family out there because you're adopted.
Absolutely.
And so did all of your brothers and sisters want to know their biological families, or was it just you? How did that conversation?
So I was about 5 years old. I kind of knew, well, I have 2 Caucasian brothers and a Korean sister. What's going on here?
Yeah.
And here I am with brown skin. What's
Right.
going on here? So even as young as 5, I wanted to know, and they knew I wanted to know. And so it wasn't that I lacked anything in the home, because the love, the structure, the value, family value, being a believer was there. But the piece that was missing, I had a void. I had that what happened, or I had questions.
Sure.
And I had questions that I wanted answers
Did
to.
your siblings feel the same way?
No.
Did
No.
you ever discuss this with them?
Later on in my
Okay.
adulthood, I did. But as far as childhood, I was a very outspoken child. So whatever was in my heart and on my mind, I would speak
Now,
it.
did your parents, were they supportive in this?
Yes and no. They already knew. They knew this day would come. I think they didn't want to lose our relationship. They didn't want to. They served such a strong place in my heart and in my life.
Sure.
I didn't want them to ever feel like what they did and the sacrifices they made weren't valued,
Right.
or weren't
Or
special
that
to
you
me.
would walk away?
Correct.
I can try to understand that piece. So when you were an adult, you began searching.
Yes.
And how did you go about that? What
So-
method did you use?
So, I've always wanted to know, and so my current husband, we married in 2017, and his first question to me, we went to high school together. We knew each other in
Okay.
high school.
Which he's a cool dude too.
He's cool. He's
I,
cool.
I really like your husband.
Thank you. And so we met in high school, and then our paths ended up meeting. And so we ended up getting married and blending family.
Right.
And so he came in with 4 kids. I came in with 3. And his first question to me was, "Did you ever find your biological family?" And I said, "No." "Do you want to?" "And I'm here to help."
Wow.
So he reached out to Catholic Charities,
Okay.
and they said, "Yes, thank you for calling, but you're not the adoptee, so I'm going to need you to pass on the information along to your wife and have her give us a call, and then we'll take it from there." And so when I made the phone call, they said, "Okay, well, if you're ready to find your biological family, there's a process. It was almost like filling out a mortgage.
No kidding.
Yes, because you have to understand that not everybody's intentions are pure, and not everybody goes finding in search of their biological family for the right reasons.
Yeah, and there's, I'm sure there's a whole host of emotions that go along with this.
Absolutely.
There's some intrepidation. There's some excitement.
Yes.
There's some nervousness.
Yes.
There's some vulnerability. What if I'm not accepted? What if I do this and they're already passed? There's all these things that come up in your mind. So you actually, I'm glad your husband was with you on this, that he could come alongside you and kind of help allay some of those fears.
Absolutely, and you said a mouthful right there. It was so many different emotions stirring up in me. Like, what if she doesn't want anything to do with me? What if I do have siblings and they tell her, no, this is a scam, or no? And I did have that. I did run into a little bit of a wall when I first initially filled out the paperwork and got it to them. I had a sibling that was like, this might be, we don't know, and which I respect because there's so many different scams and different things. And then once again, touching on that, some people's hearts and their intentions aren't pure. And so maybe this person is out to get get the inheritance of my mom and our family, or, maybe her intentions, who I don't know her.
So take us through, you fill out all this paperwork.
Yes.
And how long before you started getting information?
So I went ahead and filled out the paperwork. It took about maybe 3 months, actually. Did not realize we were in the same hometown my whole childhood.
Wow.
So we could have been passing each other and had no idea. I was a cheerleading coach for Tampa Bay Tech, their JV cheerleading. And come to find out, my biological brother was a football coach for Chamberlain High School, which is also in Tampa.
Yeah.
My rival, one of our
rival,
rivals. So it was that we could have been passing each other those 3 years, those many years that I coached.
The first one that they connected was your mother.
Yes.
And so I guess they reached out to her and said, you have somebody that claims to be your daughter.
Yes.
And so both agreed. And tell me about this first meeting.
So prior to the meeting, I was coaching cheerleading at the time. I got the phone call. And I'm looking at my phone because I had already plugged the agency in my phone. So I was like, oh.
Is this it?
This must be it. And I looked at the coach that I was coaching with. I was like, I've got to take this call. This is so important. I really would like to take this call. So she oversaw the girls. Supervision is important. And so I stepped out, and the agent that was handling the reuniting of us, her name's Melissa, and she's with Catholic Charities. She said, Jennifer, I have some news. I said, okay, come on, give it to me, tell me. I'm excited, come on. She said, I found your mother, your biological mother. And I was like, okay.
So your parents didn't have your mother's info? When you were adopted, they didn't have information?
So my adoption was closed adoption.
Okay.
The only piece of information that they had was a paper, a written fillable paperwork that she filled out. It was one sheet, and it said her nationality. She was white. My dad was African American. It said that she had 5 siblings, kind of their hair color, their description of what they look like. Description of if they graduated high school or not. Some of the medical.
And then a birth certificate.
And I didn't have a my birth certificate was once I was adopted, which I was adopted 5 days after
Birth.
Okay. My birth certificate then became Flock. So Jennifer Lynn Flock was. So there was no. I have a birth certificate with her, and then I have the transition of that. But later on, I did find out she had a birth certificate.
She had kept it.
She kept it.
So you got this information, and Catholic Charities set this up to do a phone call initially or a physical meet?
A physical. So over the phone, she says, I have some other news. And I said, okay, go ahead, tell me.
Yeah.
She said, your mother's in the office with me right now. I said, oh. You mean my biological mother's in the office? Yeah. And she said, yes, your biological mother, Patty, is in the office. Would you like to speak with her? I said, absolutely. Absolutely. So she got on the phone. She's like, "Hi, I've been looking for you for forever."
So that right there probably calmed you down.
Oh, for sure, for sure,
That one phrase
absolutely.
probably settled a lot of issues.
Because as a child who's adopted, you have your feelings.
Am I wanted?
Was I
loved?
wanted?
Yeah.
Was I loved? You know, what was her circumstances? Was she forced to give me up for adoption? Did she not love me, want me? What was it?
But that one phrase
Changed everything. It changed the dynamics.
So
it
you go
changed it
to
all.
a physical meet.
Yes. So
Tell me about that.
September 13th was our physical meet. September 13th, 2017. So I married my husband in March, and he was like, "We're on a mission."
Right.
And so in September of 2017, I met my mother. I met my biological mother.
Describe what that was like.
He went with me. Let's just say that.
Where did you meet?
So we met at the adoption agency. We met at Catholic Charities. I definitely wanted my husband there.
Sure.
You know, he helped me start the journey. He was with me the whole time, filling the paperwork out. And I wanted my husband with me. Sure. I wanted to do this together. So she was in one room and I was in another room, and they brought us together, and just this feeling of just overwhelming feeling of, wow, she's alive. Like, she's here. This is physically the woman that carried me so selflessly for 9 months.
What was her reaction?
She just looked at me and just said, "You are so beautiful."
Did you embrace?
We did.
Yeah.
We embraced. She said, "Jennifer, you can ask me whatever you want to ask me, and I will give you the answer. I will not hold my tongue."
How long did that meeting last?
So that meeting lasted most of the day. I took the day off. I was like, you know what? I don't know how it's going to go.
Right.
I don't know if it's going to go well. I'm going to be positive about this.
So where's your relationship with her today?
So she's in my life. We do talk. She's on my phone list. She's on my prayer list. She's a part of my life as far as
Did she get to meet your adopted parents?
she hasn't, but my brother. So when I had the opportunity to meet her, let me let me go backwards a little here. I had an opportunity to meet her first, and then she told me, "Well, Jennifer, you have a sister. You have a baby sister. She's 18 years younger than you."
Oh, wow.
And so she works up the road. And she's like, she works at Walmart. And I just started laughing. And a tear of joy
Because you're probably
came.
in there all the time.
Well, that was the thing, is that my children, I've always told my children, I have 3 biological children,
Right.
and 4 bonus children.
Right.
So I've always been open and honest with my children. I've always told them, your mom's adopted. One day I will introduce you to your biological family. You've had the pleasure of knowing the family that I was raised with. Right. And and so my oldest son, he's so funny. He was probably about 6 or 7. He said, "Mama, why don't we just go to Walmart?" And I said, "What?" He said, "Mama, we go to Walmart for groceries. We go to Walmart for all this other stuff. Let's go to Walmart and we'll find your mom." And I kind of chuckled, but then look here, 38 years later,
Your baby sister
my
works there.
sister works for Walmart. And so we traveled over to Walmart, and it was just so beautiful too. I mean, each moment,
Has she been looking for you?
My sister, the whole family had been.
Okay, so
but-
they all knew each other?
So my brother and sister, they grew up together. At first, they didn't know if it was true that they had a sister, an older sister. They weren't sure. Mom's kind of the one that said, "Oh, you got to kind of casual. You have an older sister, and they were like, "Yeah, okay," kind of thing. But initially, it was her that wanted to find me. And
Was
then
it like looking in a mirror and seeing any commonalities?
Absolutely.
Mannerisms?
Yes.
Because when you and I had talked before, you had mentioned something about mannerisms of the way you do things or see things or hold your hands.
Yes.
And all that came flooding back, and you're like, so relieving that you can close the gap on this.
Yes.
So let's go forward a little bit. Now having established these new relationships.
Right.
Did anything change with your adoptive parents that had raised you? Was there any feelings different from them, or were you just able to add to what you already had?
So when I initially,
Because you're already grown enough.
right, I'm a grown.
Right.
I'll be 46 and on the 14th. Shh, don't tell nobody. But nothing really. They just were kind of caught off guard because I had been saying it for so long. You know, I'm
Right.
gonna meet him. I'm gonna meet him. And then it was like, oh, you
really did.
You really did this. And so initially it was kind of they were kind of taken back because it was like, well, none of your other siblings. And I said, but I'm my own person, and that I have my own journey, and it doesn't take from the journey that I've had with you guys. I had a great journey, and
Now,
I'm so grateful.
Did they have a good life? Were they raised well?
They were both raised well.
Okay.
My dad's mom and dad were married for 70 plus years. My mom's mom and dad 60 plus years.
Okay.
So they had a firm and solid foundation in their lives prior to raising the 8 of us.
So we're finding out through technology,
Right.
with DNA and some other
Yes.
things, how common this is.
It is.
Choices that were made generations before us have now affected and trickled down other generations.
Absolutely.
And people like you that really want to know, what would you say to somebody that knows or thinks they know that there may be more family out there that they're not aware of? What advice would you give them?
I would definitely encourage it. For me, my first initial step was pray about it. Put God first.
Right.
I did. And I said, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. This isn't about this hurting this person or that person. This is about whether I get closure. I meet my biological mom and my brother and my sister, which, was fantastic. Or this is okay, I've met him, I've gotten the information, and now I move on with my life.
You haven't mentioned your biological father.
Right.
So is there still a gap?
My biological father passed.
Okay.
He had passed the year after I met my biological mother.
Okay.
So I never got an opportunity to meet him. I know I have siblings somewhere.
Okay.
He's out of the St. Pete.
But you were
Florida
able
area.
to find out who he was and close some of that?
I was able to get a picture, and I know his name.
Okay.
We're connected. My daughter did the DNA search.
Okay.
And so she's connected with some of my cousins who I am reaching out as well to be connected to. But I encourage others to do it.
Right.
For me, it wasn't about hurting anyone.
Right.
It was my heart.
There was a hole.
There was a hole.
Yeah.
There was a void that I wanted filled. That I wanted to know where I came from. Where do I get my big brown eyes? Or where do I get, where do I get my curly hair from? And you mentioned the mannerisms. My brother and I and my sister, we hold our hands a certain way. We're very meticulous. We're very can be OCD at times. So to be able to connect that. Now they look a lot of alike because they have two Caucasian parents and they look like each other.
Okay.
But even with the little brown girl's sister, you can see those features. You can see the personality. You can see the genetics.
I think the big picture, because both you and I have given our hearts to God. And,
Yes.
And we believe in the family, and we believe in what the Word of God says.
Yes.
And I think family was designed from the beginning. When God made Adam, he said, it is not good for you to be by yourself, and created Eve. And then he said, be fruitful and multiply. The family unit was always part of it. And if you look, I'd heard a story years ago where a person in a foreign land was just getting bits and pieces of the Bible. They live in a third world country. And they said when they got Matthew chapter 1, that gave all the he begat, and he said it put it all in perspective, that I could see the lineage.
Yes.
And I think that is so important. And I think today you've given us something really important of more than it's great to have a good family to come from, but to know that we're all connected in a certain
Yes.
way, and to know that it is important where we came from and where we're going to. And so I would encourage people today, even in your own life, even if you know your family tree, connect with that. Know that that is part of the bigger picture, and family is so important.
It is.
You know,
It definitely is.
You and your kids, you're passing something to your kids that even at a young age, they don't have to worry about
Right.
where they came from.
Right.
So you've taken that question away from them
Absolutely.
and helped them on their journey.
Absolutely. And they get to see the similarities. They get to see where this comes from or that comes from. My children are now 23, 22, and 21, and they got to meet family, and
Nice.
we're all family in the
Right.
body of Christ.
Sure.
You know, there's different things that connect us to being family.
So, those that are tuning in today that may feel the same way you did, we have to let them know that not every story will work out this way.
Absolutely.
But for you, the journey was definitely worth it.
Absolutely.
And so I want to encourage people that it is important to find out your roots, because inherently our DNA is what makes us who we are. Right. And I think everybody has that sense to want to know where you came from. Even though I know both sides of my family, we've traced one side back a couple hundred years, but then what's beyond that?
Right.
And so even in my situation, having a stable family, I still want to go back further and further and know those pieces.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's very important. Jennifer, I am so glad you're with us today.
Thank you.
And I think your story can encourage others to grasp and know that there's hope, there's help. And even if they are rejected at the worst, they still can get information that can put their heart at ease.
Absolutely.
And so thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you. I'm so glad your story worked out well.
Yes.
And we wish everybody's would do the same. And we want to encourage you, if you're in this situation, number one, there are alternatives to abortion. Number two is there are families that do want to adopt that can be loving, caring families. And number three, it's okay to question where you came from and to continue the search. Here at Reestablishment, we want to do that.
Yes, and give people that opportunity. I'm actually a part of a book launch called Beyond Skin Deep. Miss Pearl is the actual author of the book, and then there's co-authors, a part of that book. And I get to then again share my
How can
adoption
our audience
stories.
get a hold of it?
So you can go ahead and touch and reach me at Jennifer@eternallyfp.com, and I will forward the information to you in regards to that book.
Say that one more time.
Jennifer@eternallyfp.com.
And thank you for joining us today on Reestablishment. Great story. Look forward to seeing you again.
Raise your hands up. Raise it up.
This episode of Reestablishment is brought to you by Man360.tv, a show for men about manly things. Check it out, Man360.tv.